So today, what we're going to go through is a couple of journeys just around the customer service management within Dynamics 365 and the Power Platform. Now, customer service management, for you guys that don't know, it's a module that allows you to sort of manage cases. This could be issues, these could be repairs. For these examples I'm doing now, obviously they're going to be complaints. Now, the way that I'm going to go through this, I've got two journeys. The first one, I'm actually going to start off as somebody in the portal, so one of your tenants has access to a tenant portal where they can sort of try and communicate and try and get information from and send information to the housing association. And then the second one is a traditional email complaint with a little bit of a twist because of urgency. So I'm going to just take you through how the system and how the technology enables us to track, record, collaborate, and hopefully resolve these complaints in the best way possible. So first things first, I've jumped in as Alison, one of my test users. She's a tenant, and she's looking to raise a complaint. Now, the first thing is we have a couple of areas around the portal that Alison can use, but she doesn't really know the navigation of the portal. She doesn't use it very often, so she's going to go ahead and just jump up on the live chat and say hi. And she's going to get through to what we know as a virtual agent. Now, virtual agent technology is absolutely fantastic to enable better sort of communication and providing swift responses to your tenants. Without anybody sort of having to be there behind the scenes. Now, what I want to do is I want to raise a complaint. Now, what's happened here is because it's a complaint, rather than going through some data capture on the virtual agent, what it's suggesting is that it's suggesting me to navigate to my complaints area and go ahead and actually fill out and submit a kind of an official complaints form. Now, this is one of the options that I'm choosing in this demonstration. If you wanted to, you could enable virtual agent to capture that data in a conversational piece to say, okay, what is the issue? What service? Can you give me some more details? And what that virtual agent can capture all that information and send that into Dynamics. For this example, because we've already got a complaints area up, I'm going to go ahead and complete a customer complaint form that can be submitted back into Dynamics. Really straightforward one, bit of a blue Peter. It's around a rude staff member. The complaint type is a complaint. It's around housing and housing management. And there's a couple of details of the complaint. So when I actually go ahead and submit that information, what I'd be looking to do then is waiting for these guys to come back to me, whether it be an email, whether it be a conversation. It would then be up to the housing association to sort of try and initiate that process and communicate with me. Now, as an agent, I would actually be sat there as Ollie Sinclair on the contact center. I would actually want to have a look and try and find the cases that are coming in for the day. So what I've got up in here, for those of you not familiar with Dynamics 365, this is what the back end looked like from an agent perspective. And what I've got on here is a dashboard, and it's my case management dashboard. So what it shows me is a number of active cases, some of my recent resolved cases, so that I can actually have a look and go and find, some work to do and get myself allocated to one of these cases and try and help out what's going on. Obviously, you can see that the rude stuff that's come up on there. So if I was to double click onto that, I would actually be taken to what's known as a case form. Now, on the case form is really where you capture some additional information about the person. It would be about what the issue was, some elements around their tenancy, their unit that they're involved in, and up on here, what we've got is a business process bar. So the business process bar is absolutely critical for when you're managing sort of or trying to guide your users through a process to get that quick resolution, or to get those guys to process in the right order. Now, what you can see here is that I've already identified who the customer is. I've got the case title and the reason for creating the case. Now, within the detail section, I've actually tried to attempt to make a phone call, and I've actually got through to them, and I've gained a little bit more information. Now, through this information, speaking to Alex, I've actually said yes, we need to escalate this complaint. So what we can see here is that a case, for example, could be anything. It could be an ASB, it could be a repair, it could be a specific element that's not related to case management. But once we escalate this to a complaint, what we do here is actually could create a new sort of complaint record. Now, what we can do here is we can say, well, it was submitted today, and it was definitely a complaint, and the channel was over over the internet, which I've just lost the control for. What was the category? Well, we did say it was housing, and it was housing management. So once we've got this stage one, so an official complaint happening, what we would be looking to do on the phone is looking at what would be their preferred resolution, what would make these guys happy. And what we're going to say is, we're going to say, well, if we issued an apology, then that might resolve the issue rather than taking it to a second stage. So what we're going to actually do is make sure that there's the correct acknowledgement. So we can save this record and go ahead and print off one of our acknowledgement records, acknowledgement templates. And what happens here is that is just acknowledging the complaint officially and sending that information back to them. What Dynamics will do behind the scenes is pull off all of this information and give us that template to send out really, really quickly, rather than having to type this out, rather than having to find the information. We can go ahead and have that template already completed for us. What we can do there is also, obviously, if you wanted to, you can actually attach to the complaint records and go ahead and attach that and say, so we're happy that that's all gone in. The really good thing about this is once you have all of your information here, you can see within the timeline all of the specific activities, responses, phone calls, elements, internally or externally into this investigation, and really what needs to happen. And it's just the demigods are not being nice to me, but effectively you can add all of those information in there. So what's happening really with the stage one investigation? Well, we've sent the acknowledgement, and the response needs to be within a week. We've actually gone ahead because it was quite a relatively, we issued an apology. It's actually going to be quite easy to send the response to that one. So we're going to send it in the same day. And are we going to escalate? Well, I think we're on the phone speaking to Alex. We've actually said, okay, so the outcome that has actually resolved that. So what we're going to say is we're going to resolve that by issuing the apology has actually resolved that information. And what we can do is then go ahead and save and close that as a completed case. Now, one of the other ways in which that we can go through complaints is actually through more of the email side. So maybe you're going to receive an email complaint. And what we have here is we've got an email from somebody saying that they're actually raising a complaint. And the scary thing is, in the title, we can already see that there's an ombudsman's reference. So these guys have already got in contact with the housing ombudsman for assistance in raising this issue. Now, a bit of a Blue Peter moment. I've gone ahead and seen that case from Alex, I've gone ahead and found the fact that we've actually done a stage 1 investigation for Alex, and we've already issued an acknowledgement, and we've already, the preferred resolution is fixing a boiler. I think Alex is very happy with that, and it looks as though we're going to need to escalate to the second stage. What you can also see here is there's some space around here for the ombudsman reference, and when Alex actually referred to the ombudsman, what we can do is go ahead and escalate to the next stage and start the stage 2, which is the review. Now, I'm sure you guys, for the guys in the complaints team, I'm sure you're aware that these are quite straightforward processes that you guys have to go through. You have certain responses and SLAs that you need to go through. Dynamics 365 is really, really brilliant with providing SLAs and being able to capture when things need to get done and give you guys the ability to understand that in sort of countdown timers and elements like that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to supply a reviewing manager, so I know Adam is going to need to be the reviewing manager, and I'm not actually too sure when Adam can actually review this, but it's got to be really soon because it's already, we've highlighted the fact the ombudsman is already involved. This is a bit of an urgent one. So one of the new features that's recently come out, it is still technically in preview within Dynamics, but it will be coming to general availability very, very soon, is the ability to collaborate internally within Dynamics 365 using the Teams channel. So what I can see up here is, okay, well, I need to speak to Adam urgently because I need to set a review date for this. So I'm going to click this button up here, and actually Teams chat is now embedded within the case management element. So I've got a complaint, and I'm going to go ahead and create a new chat. I'm going to say help with a review. So I'm going to say Adam, it needs to be you. I'm going to say help with complaint. And what you can see here is before I start the chat with Adam, what it's going to do is it's going to give me the title, the channel, the complaint type, and when it was created on. So when Adam might not be in Dynamics 365, he might be on the road, he might just be in Teams, he might be in a meeting. If we actually start this chat, what happens here is I don't lose the focus of this case, but I can go ahead and start chatting with Adam. And I can say, and as you can see, what's happened is that chat's already added in Adam and myself, and it said, hi, can we chat about this? And we can see this information here. Now, from Adam's perspective, I'm just going to get the chat up now. So Adam might just be within the chat, and he's going to see all of this information. Now, what he can do is he can say, oh, okay, that's really interesting. That's a complaint. Ollie needs some help. I'm going to actually go ahead and view that detail. So he, outside of Teams, can directly jump into the specific record that I need help with, and he can actually see the complaint case and the complaint details. Now, all I need to know is what specific time, what date and time can you do the review, and I can start conversing with Adam straight away. He comes back to me. He said, actually, Ollie, I can do this tomorrow. Let's get on this because it's a bit of an urgent one. So let's crack on and do a review for Friday the 26th. Fantastic. That's all good. The case is the complaint is assigned to him. I've actually managed to collaborate with him straight away without a delay and getting a review date booked in with somebody for that. I can add in some review notes and said, review confirmed over Teams for review. Excellent. Okay. What I can then do then is crack on, and myself and Adam, we can have that review. We can have a look at all of the literature, the acknowledgement letters, all of the emails and the phone calls that related to that. We can jump back into Dynamics 365, have a look at the repair and see what was going on, see, talk to the engineer. We could spin up another Teams chat, see if we can talk to the engineer straight away and trying to resolve this as quickly as possible. And effectively, what we want to be doing is coming into making sure that we've got the right outcome, which would be that we spoke to Alex again on the review, and we said, we're going to give you £100 compensation, and we would be issuing that on the day, and we would finish that and resolve that as a complaint. So again, what we're trying to do is guide people through a process, enable the data to be captured in a sensible way, and reduce the navigation away from different screens if we can, by having the Teams chat preview collaboration, seamlessly moving in from a case to a complaint, so that if it's from the contact center and you have a specific complaints team, then that will all be linked through, and it will make it a little bit more of a seamless effort. Knowing that you've got the SLAs in there, what we're trying to do is keep up that resolving first time and getting that quick responses in. So that's really the major parts of the journey I want to sort of take you through. So those are the journeys. These are the ways that with the Crimson Accelerator, we can very quickly start creating complaint cases. But now you've got this really useful data. What do we do with that? What do we do with this data once we have it? Is there a way we can do some analysis on maybe the different types of cases? Or, is there something that we can glean from all this information? So what we've actually done here is we've got a Power BI dashboard that connects to our complaints data within Dynamics 365. And if the demo gods are being nice, it will show you a nice Power BI information around all of the complaints that have been raised this year. Yeah, crikey, I was a bit worried then. Okay, so what have we got in here? So this is a Power BI dashboard, relatively straightforward to create, and it is using a combination of the complaints, case management, and some of the general entities and records related to teams and categories and elements in that. So what we've got in here is that we've actually our average days to respond throughout the year is actually 7.5 days. So that's kind of within the 10-day sort of SLA that the Crimson Housing Association want to go through. So that's really, really good. But we'd want to try and reduce that down. So we want to have a look and maybe interrogate some of the data to have a look at how we can reduce the number of days to respond. Now, extending a case, which I didn't go through in one of those cases, which I probably should have done, if you have the ability to have an SLA of 10 days, if you know that you are not going to be able to resolve that, it may be that you can't get to the answers, you can't get to the people in time, you have the ability to extend that, and you can then have an extension date as long as that's agreed by by the tenant. But what we can do is, because we have the specific the due date and the extension date, we can calculate the average days in which cases were extended over the year. And what we can see there is we can see a graph that actually shows that information. And you can see from down here, you've got stage 1, stage 2, and the ones that have been referenced to the Ombudsman. So there's a lot going on here, lots of cases, lots of issues being raised. That's probably more about my demo data than anything else. But what we can also do is start segregating this out into different areas. Say, for example, we want to specifically look at different teams and the breakdown of maybe the outcomes of these cases, of these complaints by team. So if we have a look, we're going to click on finance now. What you can see also behind the scenes using AI is a piece of functionality within Power BI that allows us to glean some information that you might not be able to see straight away, that's really that has some information withdrawn for finance cases, actually 35% of complaints actually were withdrawn. So whether that's the fact that something is happening in terms of the complaints either going to the wrong team, or there's a process in there where there's a lot of cases are being withdrawn, whether that's maybe trying to contact them, is there something wrong with the channels that the finance are using, are they just conversing through emails, is that something that we need to tackle. What we can also see is that there is a lot of repairs as well, and actually, just under a quarter of those are partially upheld. That might mean that, yes, we've kind of come to an agreement, and that we've given them some elements. We've given some a refund, or managed to refix it, and it's been partially upheld, which is really, really good news. What we can also do from an interrogation perspective is use those teams and categories in looking at average days responded and average days extended. So if you have a look down here, okay, well, let's have a look at finances average days. Wow, okay, so that's we're going up 7.8 days with finance to respond. Does that mean they're busy? Is it to do with volumes? You can see that towards the beginning of the year, it was increasing, but then in June it went down. So we could probably try and interrogate why. What was so good about June? Was it the pure volume of cases are coming in? Looking at it, it doesn't look like it. It looks like there's still quite a few in there. So what was it? Were they simpler requirements, or somebody working really, really well in June, and we need to identify why that's so good, and conversely why September was so bad. We're 8.75. We're nearly up to that 10 days to respond part. So we really need to work out what's going on there. So this is just to give you just a brief overview of the type of things you can do with both Power BI and the data. Once you have it, you can then really start to interrogate this and use it as much as you can.